Welcome to the Have You Met Her Yet podcast, a podcast by Pink Crown Creative. I am your host, Lindsay Dent, the founder of Pink Crown Creative, a Vancouver-based marketing consulting company. This podcast was created to shine a spotlight on women in the workplace, who they are, what they do, why you should know them. In this week's episode, I speak with Danielle Leroux, the founder of Renew Retreats. Renew Retreats was created to provide women with a place to explore the outdoors, no matter your experience level, and always with good food. I can't wait for you to meet Danielle. I hope you enjoy this episode. So welcome back to another episode of Have You Met Her Yet? I'm here today with Danielle from Renew Retreats. So Danielle, I would like you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, who you are, what you do, and anything else you'd like to tell us about your company and yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Danielle, and I'm the owner and the founder of Renew Retreats, and we offer holistic hiking retreats and outdoor education for women, really based in Vancouver, but with plans to expand around the province and around the country.
Awesome.
I guess a bit about myself. I mean, it's definitely been a very sort of random kind of journey past to get here. I grew up in Toronto, was not very nice, was not an outdoors lover growing up. My mom, I always tell people my mom would always force my sister and I to go camping, and even my dad wouldn't go. So my parents are shocked that I've sort of launched this outdoors business now. So I spent my childhood in Toronto, went to an arts high school, played the flute and the piano growing up, and then ended up doing a music degree at a small university in New Brunswick. And so spent 4 years in the Maritimes, moved back to Toronto and worked in property management because I really needed a job. And then sort of around that time, I guess that was about 2010, I was really lost as to what I wanted to do next. I had loved music, but I never really wanted to pursue a career in performance and didn't really want to teach that much. And so I started going through all these career paths, which is really funny now looking back with Renew Retreats, how I sort of ended up combining all those things. But I looked at nutrition and going more into wellness or cooking, and eventually landed on communications. I think with the thought that it was still sort of creative, and I really enjoyed writing and talking to people, but it seemed a bit more practical than doing a music degree.
Right.
And that's how I ended up in Vancouver. I kind of just applied to SFU on a whim for grad school.
Oh, wow.
And then got in and was Vancouver sounds like a fun place to live. And I think I just really needed a change.
Yeah.
And so moved out here in 2012 and started grad school. And then I guess sort of the week before, I had about 2 weeks when I first moved here before school started. And I didn't know anyone, and I was really bored, and everyone kept telling me when I moved to BC that the hiking is so great here,
right.
And everyone goes outside, and so I literally just Googled easy hikes to do in Vancouver that you can take a bus to or something.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And landed on Lighthouse Park. And so that was my very first hike. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, didn't bring anything, so bad looking back. But at least it was Lighthouse Park, it could have been worse. And so that just sort of got me hooked on spending time in the outdoors. And then since then it sort of progressed and I got to do longer hikes, harder hikes. So sort of wrapped up grad school 2014. And at that time was totally focused on the arts. So my thesis was actually on a community arts project. And then I landed again into another random job, working for a membership organization that lobbied on behalf of the private liquor industry. Again, super random, but it turned out to be a really good experience. There was only 2 of us working at the business. So it was a really good introduction to how to run a small business.
Right.
So even though my role was communications, membership events, I did the accounting and all this random administrative stuff. And a lot of our members would be the owners of different liquor and establishments and hotels. So it was really interesting to sort of just learn from business owners who have been really successful. Yeah, and then I guess sort of to kind of wrap this up, so as I got more into hiking, I also really got into running and doing marathons and things like that. And then last year, I guess 2018, I was turning 30 and was sort of having this whole like life crisis. Yeah. And I think at this point I was, really ready to kind of do something I was ultimately passionate about and just more aligned with my values, and that just had more of an impact and was a bit more purposeful. And so I went on this 2-week trip to the Alps.
Oh, wow.
And it was like this 8-day trek around Mont Blanc, the mountain. Mm-hmm. And I think just doing that and spending like so much time outside, doing something really hard, and also just disconnecting from my life and from my phone, I kind of came back from that and was like, okay, like I need to do something about this. Like I need to, actually think about what I want to do a business on or in. And before that, I've been doing some consulting work, really just in like digital marketing, communications. And so that I knew that wasn't really for me, but I really wanted to have my own business. And yeah, kind of from there, it was sort of this very slow progression. And then I guess December 2018 put out a survey just to women in my community to see if like some sort of hiking retreats business would actually interest anyone.
Right.
And almost 300 people responded.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I think finally putting it out there and telling people about it. So that was, I guess, just over a year ago now.
Wow. And where did you distribute that?
It was funny. So I sort of just put it out on my own Facebook page.
Okay.
And then in the Girl Gang Facebook group. I don't know if you're part of that.
Yep.
And then it was really cool. I think people just started telling other people. And I'm also part of the forum for women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And they were really great at distributing it. So I think it was just kind of word of mouth.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So cool when that happens.
Yeah, I think it was just so validating, right? Because you think about this idea for so long, and you're like, is anyone really going to care about this?
Oh, yeah.
So that was, I guess, December 2018, and then I guess in the spring of 2019, I kind of like bit the bullet and hired like a branding and design company to do my website, my logo, all that kind of stuff. And I think really making such a huge financial investment, that really like commits you to doing it. So that was really this spring, and then August of this past summer launched the business officially.
Amazing.
And since then I guess I've done 20 events, sort of.
Wow.
Yeah, both in BC.
August?
Yeah, since August.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's been a very busy couple months, but so since August I've done a range of kind of 1-day retreats, different workshops, group hikes. I've done some different brand partnerships and collaborations. So. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, congrats. That is huge.
Thank you.
You've done all of that, I mean, within less than 6 months, I guess.
Yeah, it was a busy 5 months.
Well, that honestly, congratulations. That's
thank
huge. So before you launch your business, and right now, I guess, as well, are you doing anything else, or are you just doing this full time?
So I still at my former full-time job.
Okay.
Kind of 4 days a week. I am really lucky that, so my boss, I guess, or who I work with, we've also become really good friends.
Oh, nice.
Because I guess we're going on almost 6 years of working together. Yeah, it's cool. We both sort of started at the organization at the same time. And at the time, the association was like in shambles. So we really worked together to kind of rebuild it. So we have a really good relationship, and he's been so supportive of my business. And I have even before I cut my hours at the job, I had a lot of flexibility. So,
that's nice.
So for me, like obviously my goal is to do Renew retreats full time. But as you know, it takes a little while to build that sustainable income. So.
Definitely.
So right now I'm kind of just slowly phasing myself out of the former full-time job as I kind of build this up.
Okay, cool. So with your business, how are you generating income at the moment?
Yeah, so that's been really interesting just to see what people are willing to pay for.
Right.
So for me, I guess when I first kind of envisioned the business, I always thought there would be many revenue streams.
Yes.
So right now, I mean, for sure, like the 1-day retreats, so those are the biggest sort of priced item and the biggest kind of revenue generator. But beyond that, doing workshops and different sort of events, I would like to sort of go more so down the route of offering education and even doing like online resources and courses and things like that.
Yep.
And for sure for me, like my longer term vision is offering multi-day retreats.
Right.
Because I mean, the amount of income you can make on a single day retreat related to the amount of work it is not that great.
Right.
Yeah, but that's definitely been a challenge, is even just figuring out how to make it sustainable. Like that's something I always sort of knew would be a challenge.
Of course.
And even the weather.
Oh my goodness.
It's so funny. Like I guess back in September was the first one I had to reschedule just because of like downpour, wind and rainfall warning. And then in October, I actually had to move a hike because of a bear. They had closed Garibaldi Park, Garibaldi Lake.
Wow.
So that was funny. That's not something I had
so just
considered.
Nature coming in, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and then in December, I had hoped to do some snowshoeing, but there wasn't enough snow.
Oh my goodness. Well, today.
So now there's that's not an issue.
The last few days have been a crazy snowstorm, so there's lots of snow right now.
But it's funny, like some people I talk to, they just don't want to hike in the winter. So that's been the benefit of doing more of the workshops and sort of other inside type of events.
Right. That makes sense. So what would you say a workshop or a retreat looks like? What would you expect if you were going to sign up for something like that? Yeah,
so the one-day retreats I've done so far, so really the idea is that you show up and everything is taken care of. So really you just have to bring your hiking clothes, like I send you a detailed packing list and your backpack, and then you show up and you're good to go. Mm-hmm. So basically we would meet at wherever we're going to go. So one of the really popular retreats I did was on Bowen Island.
Oh, I love Bowen.
It's a beautiful spot, and we hiked at Mount Gardner.
Nice.
So everyone met at Horseshoe Bay, outside the ferry terminal. I had everyone's ferry tickets ready to go. And so once you arrive, you get your ferry ticket, sign a waiver, get your lunch and a healthy snack that's all provided.
So the lunch and snack is wonderful.
And we usually do sort of just kind of a random introductions and check in with everyone, see what everyone's kind of hoping to get out of the day, or why they had signed up. And then it's really nice, I think, going over to Bowen because you sort of get a chance to sit together on the ferry and kind of chat before you start climbing up in a mountain.
Of course. It's a good way to get to know people, right?
Yeah, it really is. And it's nice, too, I find with Bowen, you really do feel that separation from Vancouver. You feel like you're leaving something behind.
Yes.
And then basically just sort of start hiking. And for me, it's never meant to be a race to the top.
Right.
I find the women who come on the retreats are very much, they just want to get outside.
Yeah.
And connect with like-minded women. So many people come on their own, which is really cool. So we just kind of take our time and stop along the way for water and snack and photo breaks.
Nice, of course.
Yeah, and then always, have lunch together at the top and then kind of make our way back down. And I always like to do some sort of goodie bag at the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that has some sort of recovery kind of products in it.
Yeah.
We usually just do sort of a quick close and get people's kind of initial thoughts or how they feel about the day.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of go on our way. And then afterwards I'll connect everyone, usually just in a WhatsApp group to share photos and contact info.
Oh, that's really cool. And so what are the experience levels, would you say, that people what is their level if you're going to be signing up for one of these retreats? Is it for beginners? It's for experience? Are you getting all types of people?
Yeah, so it's funny. So when I first kind of envisioned the business, having myself done marathons and some ultra trail races, I really thought there's so much benefit to doing something hard.
Right.
Just for me, there's such personal development, kind of mental benefits. But of course I learned not everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
I think I came back from the Alps and was we need to do these 7 or 8 day treks.
Oh my goodness.
But that's when I put out this survey, a lot of women wrote back and they were I really want to hike, but I don't even know where to start or who to go with, or I've never done it before. So of course there's definitely still an audience that wants to do more hardcore things, but there's such an untapped market, I think, of women who have just been scared to go.
Yes.
So I'll just say, the way I've been doing it right now is kind of structuring the retreats around experience level. So I've done a range. So some of them have been longer and harder. And actually another one we did on Bowen, we ended up starting the day, there's a beautiful yoga studio called the Well on Bowen.
Oh, nice.
So we did sort of like a 1 hour kind of like gentle yoga class to start the day, and then did an easier hike in the afternoon.
Nice.
And that was nice, even for people who've hiked a lot, but just didn't want such like a hardcore experience. So it's really open to any experience level. Usually, I mean, if someone hasn't hiked before, I wouldn't recommend that they come on something that's like a full day thing.
Right.
But I have been offering, a range of different kind of experience levels.
Very cool. So the next question I have for you, you had said that you partner with different maybe brands or companies. You put little like swag bags together. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the people that you're working with, maybe how you approach them, what your relationship is like with some of those people?
Yeah, so definitely, I would say for sure partnering with brands and other businesses in general has been a huge key to success. Yeah. Especially for me starting out as this like unknown business. And one thing I didn't really consider myself is that it is kind of scary to go hiking with someone you've never met before.
Right.
So I found that, the partnerships have been really good just for the credibility of it and kind of the trust. So one of the first partnerships was with Movement 108.
Oh, nice.
It's like a boutique fitness studio on South Granville.
Yeah.
And really, I was just going as a client. I sort of joined last year and was just going there to work out. And funnily enough, the person who did my branding and my website, she actually works out there as well.
Oh, nice.
It was super weird. I was about to sort of sign with them, and we had like just had a phone call that day about my quote or something. And I show up at the gym for my first class, and she's there. It's like this weird, totally. So her and I would talk a lot, and so one of the trainers was like, "Oh, like I noticed you're working with Lucy. What work is she doing for you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm launching this business." And I was telling the trainer about the business, and she was like, "We used to have this hike club that would offer kind of monthly group hikes to anyone who works out at the gym. And the person who did it left. Do you want to lead the hike club?" I was like, "Sure." They knew like so little about me, but they seemed to have faith that it would work out.
Yeah.
So I started doing that with the gym in June, and that was awesome. Even just to get testimonials from people, and get photos, and just for myself, more experience leading groups. So the partnership with Movement has been amazing. So we do the hike club, and they ended up offering me up their space for my lunch party, which was really great when the business was making no money.
That's awesome.
And since then, Erin, the owner of the gym, we partnered on some workshops together. So they've just been really great for kind of both promoting the business and just giving me space and opportunity to collaborate. And Erin actually introduced me to the team at Fjallraven, an outdoor store. And because of sort of that introduction, I ended up becoming a store ambassador for Fjallraven.
It's really funny. So I read your profile, and the way that you're pronouncing that, I've never known how to pronounce it.
Everyone says that to me.
So it's so nice to finally know what it is, because I see it on backpacks, I see it on all these things, and I'm like, what does this name mean?
I think, I can either say like Fjallraven or Fjallraven, but either or. Yeah. And that partnership has been amazing. So I became a store ambassador in October.
Oh, nice.
And as part of that, it's like a 2-year partnership, and basically I get a lot of free clothes.
That's awesome.
But can also, I guess the expectation is we collaborate monthly on an event.
Yep.
But that could either be in store, we could do something outside. So basically I can use the store space whenever I want.
Very cool.
So that's been really cool. And too, because I think so many people are interested in that brand.
Right.
And so that's been really good to attract people to the events at the store. And beyond that, just other local businesses. It's funny, like a lot of them have been like women-owned kind of businesses in the health and wellness.
We attract each other, right?
So a friend of mine.
Oh no, that's okay.
A friend of mine runs a business called Backcountry Walk, and they make dehydrated Asian compostable meals for camping. So her and I have worked together on stuff. My Momentum, like a fitness app.
Yep. I actually interviewed Anna this summer.
Oh, that's right. I think I read her post. So we're going to do an event together in February.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of other ones, but it's just been such a good way to even just reach other audiences.
Yeah, very, very cool. And so you spoke a lot about creating events. So what do those events look like? I assume they're different than the retreat.
Yeah, totally. So I actually just did one on Sunday. And so it was like an evening of like yoga and self-care. So usually, the workshops I do, they have something either to do with like hiking education.
Okay.
I've done stuff like hiking 101 and hiking in the snow 101, or really just anything to do with kind of health, wellness, self-care.
Right.
So for that, it was held at Fjellraven. So people arrive at the store. They have a chance to shop privately.
Oh, okay.
Because the store is closed when we host the events.
Yeah.
And they also get a discount. So that's always a good perk.
Nice little perk, yeah.
Totally. So then usually I'll just welcome people, and I've generally partnered with some sort of instructor or expert. So in that case, I had a naturopath / yoga teacher do the event on Sunday. So we did like a 1-hour yoga class that was meant to kind of relax and reset you. And then we always have some sort of snacks and drinks. So we had kombucha and energy balls.
Nice.
And then we ended the night just kind of with like a foundations of health discussion. And also just the importance of nature for stress management.
Amazing.
So really the idea behind those is to kind of bring people together, connect with other local women, hikers, and provide some sort of education.
Awesome. That's really cool. All right, I'm going to ask you some in-depth questions here. What would you say your usual workout routine looks like?
Yeah, it's definitely, so I guess I would say probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I was super into running and did like a bunch of marathons, and then I did a 50K trail race and was like, never again.
That is very ambitious.
It was very long, so I still run, not quite as much, but these days I really do go to Movement 108, probably like 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
And that's like strength conditioning, a lot of kettlebells. And beyond that, probably run 2 or 3 times a week. And then definitely hike on the weekends.
Very, very cool. I would say in BC specifically, what is your favorite hike and what is your least favorite hike? And if you could maybe give a little bit of why for both of them.
Yeah. Oh man, favorite hike is so hard to choose. I guess if I am short on time and really just want to work out, I love the BCMC trail.
Okay.
It runs like parallel to the Grouse Grind.
Oh, I've never done that one before.
It's good. Yeah, I like it because there's no stairs. Like that's like I don't mind the Grouse Grind.
Oh my goodness, I need to try that because the Grouse Grind kicks my butt every single time.
It's still super hard.
Yeah.
But I find it's a little bit longer in distance, so I think the elevation is a bit more like spread out.
Yeah.
And it just feels like you're actually on a hike.
Yes.
Versus I feel like the Grouse Grind, you're just like climbing stairs.
Oh yeah.
And I also hate the people on the Grouse Grind who blast their music.
Yeah.
I know they have all those signs down to like wear headphones. So BCMC is great for a workout. Or actually in the winter, if you go to the top of Grouse, they have the snowshoe grind.
Oh, nice.
Which is super fun.
Yeah.
So I found actually when I was injured running a couple of years ago, that like saved me both like mentally and just like fitness-wise.
That's good. So you could still get out and
get a good workout. And but for longer stuff, I feel like Panorama Ridge is such a good one.
It's a beautiful one.
It's super long but very beautiful. And I guess it's hard to choose. 2 other favorite ones. Up in Whistler, if you pay to take the gondola to kind of the top, you can do something called the High Note Trail.
Oh, okay.
So it basically starts from up at the very top of Whistler Mountain. There's that like very much. I think Quarry Rock is good for visitors, but it's just so busy.
Yes. In Deep Cove, right?
Yeah, in Deep Cove. Yeah, that's a super busy one. And also Joffrey Lakes.
You know what? I've never done Joffrey Lake. I really want to.
It's beautiful. It's just overcrowded. And I think
I guess touristy, right?
Yeah, and it's just tough to see because I think a lot of it's great that so many people are getting outdoors, but a lot of people just don't really care in some ways. Like there's garbage everywhere, and people just don't really respect the trail. So that's like unfortunate to see.
Yeah.
But beyond that, within BC, I'm trying to think. There's no really bad hikes that I've done. Maybe some boring ones, but
I mean, usually it's either they're too strenuous, or you're bored, or you're it doesn't like excite you and make you feel passionate.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 essential must-haves you would say when you're hiking?
Yeah, so if...
or maybe your favorites.
Yeah, totally. So I guess, like, I mean, to start and just to put out there, for safety purposes, there is this thing called the 10 Essentials.
Okay.
Which I can also provide you the link for. I have like a hiking guide on my website.
Perfect.
And I'll try to remember them all. But it's basically stuff you should always bring with you no matter where you're going for a hike. So things like water and first aid and food and like a light source and fire. I can send you the full list of 10 things.
We'll add it to the show notes so people can get a link of what that looks like.
Perfect. Yeah, but beyond sort of your general safety, I think for me, I feel like always just bringing enough food.
Yes.
And bringing good snacks, because if you're hungry and hiking, it's not very fun.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think really just a good pair of hiking boots, like comfy hiking boots. And
any that you recommend?
Yeah, for me, I really love Solomon for trail running, or maybe like trails that are not too strenuous. I guess it's really personal preference too.
Yeah.
Like some people really like the ankle support,
right?
Versus I can find that kind of like constricting. So Solomon is great for trail runners, and I just have a pair of like waterproof North Face hiking boots, which are good.
Okay, very cool. So you said you're from Ontario.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite hikes in Ontario?
I must admit, I have not hiked as much in Ontario since usually when I go back, it's during Christmas time.
Of course.
And it's like so
rushing around, I'm sure, seeing people.
Yeah, totally. But the few times I've been there, I really do want to explore Hamilton more because there's so many waterfalls.
Yes. Many waterfalls,
Yeah.
yes. I haven't personally done that, but one of my best friends used to live in Hamilton and frequented that, as well as I think my parents a few years ago went with my brother and they did a few of the waterfalls.
That's
but yeah, it's
awesome.
one of those places that you don't really think about until you're not there anymore.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So every time I talk to my mom, she's like, I took you to all these places when you were a kid and you don't remember. But I also really want to check out the Bruce Peninsula again.
Yes. That is absolutely stunning. Would you be able to talk about any difficult moments that you've had or encountered when you've hiked?
Oh yeah, there's been a couple. I guess, I'm trying to think of a couple ones. Definitely one stands out in the Alps. So it was kind of this 8-day trek. It was like 160 kilometers, like 25,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. So it was a lot. And you're also carrying like a pack on your back. So I still remember, I think it was like the third day of the trip. So by this point, everyone knows each other pretty well because you're kind of like sweaty and dirty and you spend so much time outside talking to people. So it was really neat. So the way the trip worked is you actually went through 3 different countries. So through France, Italy, and Switzerland. Wow. Yeah, super cool. So the day that we were crossing between over the French and Italian border into Italy, I still remember. So I guess it was like mid-June and there was way more snow than they usually have. And so we weren't like totally prepared for this. And I think the route was taking a lot longer. And it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Everyone is so hungry, so tired. And our guide keeps saying, we're almost there. And I think it's one of those things where you're just so cranky. Even though you're in this like very beautiful setting. But I mean, anyway, so we kind of we get over that. And so the way it works in the Alps is that they have all these lodges set up in like the middle of the mountains. And so our lunch spot was at this beautiful lodge, but like up this like giant hill.
Oh my goodness.
So we're so pissed off. But I remember we got to this lodge and we ended up having this lunch with like fresh pasta and like tiramisu and espresso. And I was like, we need to like do hiking better in BC.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that sounds so luxurious.
It was this really good mix, of like hiking and doing kind of this hard thing, but then having like really good food.
Yeah, huge reward.
Yeah. And I guess another one that comes to mind more recently, over Canada Day weekend, my sister and I, we went up to Whistler. And if you don't want to take the gondola, you can actually hike.
Oh, wow.
And it's this hike called the Singing Pass Trail.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up doing it, but the hike itself was not very nice. Oh. And so we kind of got to what was supposed to be sort of the turnaround point. And you really had seen like nothing. And we were like, maybe we should just keep on going. And so stupidly, like looking back, like I know not to do this, but we decided to kind of continue on and connect to the High Note Trail, which I'd done before. Did not even think to look up that the trail was actually still closed because there's too much snow. But it sort of got to the
You
point.
said this is June?
Yeah, it was June. It was like Canada Day. Yeah, June 30th, I think. Yeah, so they still hadn't opened the trail because none of the snow had melted. But it sort of got to this point where we had kept on hiking, and it's almost like if you turn around, it's going to be too long to go back.
Right.
So you just have to sort of keep on going. And so our goal was to like continue on the High Note Trail and then make it to the roundhouse where you could take the gondola back down. But because the trail wasn't open, none of the trail markers were up.
Oh, goodness.
And so we sort of knew where to go, but there's like this picture of my sister sitting on her butt on this like snowy boulder field, like trying to get her way down and thinking like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to like call my parents and tell them like we're stranded on Whistler Mountain. And so eventually we made it back to the gondola, but it was just sort of one of those things where you're like, you can see how things go wrong so quickly.
Right. And you're not prepared, I guess, right?
Yeah, like as much as
you
like
don't research.
I had everything we would need if we had to like stay the night or gotten lost, but did not want to do that. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm just going to quickly start this. Okay. Have you ever encountered any danger when you've hiked? Or any wildlife?
Yeah. I've actually been pretty lucky, like knock on wood. I haven't seen much wildlife. I've seen bears here and there. Once was in like West Vancouver, coming actually back to the car. It was like in the neighborhood on the street. Yeah, which is crazy. And I've seen them before in Whistler, but really far away.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like the scariest experience I've had, which was a huge wake-up call, was I guess July 2018.
Yeah.
It was like this crazy summer, and I'd just come back from the Alps and ended up doing like a bunch of traveling and was like back in Vancouver for 2 days before I was flying out to the Maritimes. And was like, oh, the weather is so good. I really want to go like do a big hike. And so I went to do Panorama Ridge on my own. And, you know, was like prepared, had everything I needed with me, and kind of like ended up running part of it. And I made it up to the top of the ridge totally fine, and was decided to add on a bit and go to Garibaldi Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was just running down this like super smooth path and somehow tripped and ended up falling, but like slamming down on my side.
Oh, goodness.
And so I got up, and I remember there was like 2 girls like nearby, and they were like, are you okay? And like I think I was just kind of in shock, thought I was gonna throw up.
Oh gosh.
But at this point I'm still like 3 hours from the trailhead and had like no cell service, and so I ended up getting back to the lake and was like, I'll just like, you know, sit here, take some Advil, like eat something. And I went to like go get my phone out of the side of my pants, and my leg had like totally swollen up. It was terrifying. And so, but at this point I'm still like, you know, not back at the parking lot. And so managed to make it back, and I had just like sat down in the parking lot to take a break. I ended up fainting.
Oh my god.
But I passed out on a doctor out of like all the people. Yeah, so I wake up, I'm like on the ground. This doctor's like checking my vitals. A med student also happened to be there. He has like my feet up in the air. But it was very scary, and I had to like catch a flight the next morning.
Oh
and
my goodness.
I was basically bruised from like my knee, or from like my butt to my knee, totally swollen.
Wow.
And I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks, and ended up getting this like giant hematoma. It was like this really bad experience. But I'll just say it was a good wake-up call, both to get my first day of training.
Yes.
And also just, I think with running and doing so many crazy things, you think you can keep pushing your limits.
Always.
And you kind of forget that there is kind of a point. So I don't hike alone as much anymore. But
that's great. It's a good lesson, I guess.
Oh, right? It was a good lesson.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few questions about sort of career and your job and etc. So what would one piece of can you give one valuable piece of advice that you can give women on how they can overcome challenges in the workplace?
Yeah, so it's funny, I thought when I was looking through your blog post, I thought about some answers.
Amazing. I've never seen this before. She has a list of a few questions that I think are already answered.
I did, yeah.
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah, so I would say, so for me, definitely coming from the arts and then going to work in the liquor industry. I mean, like when I went to an arts high school, like there was like no men.
Right.
Versus the liquor industry is like the exact opposite. So working in a male-dominated industry was really tough.
Yeah.
And like the amount of times that I got asked if I was the receptionist or which is like, there's no problem with that job. But when it's not your job, and it's just this assumption, right?
Absolutely.
So for me, Jeff, who I work with, I think having some sort of ally or someone who's just also really supportive of women in leadership roles, that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, definitely finding like an ally. I've also had really helpful mentors.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, both within the industry and then just outside to get advice on how to deal with like the sexism that often comes with stuff like that.
Absolutely. And so who would some of your mentors be?
Yeah, so the Forum for Women Entrepreneurs, they've been great just for the mentorship program. So my first year I worked with, it was sort of a lawyer turned consultant.
Yeah.
She now owns a business called Flax Sleep, a linen company. And currently I'm working with a mentor who runs a first aid company in the construction industry. So like totally different. But again, such a male dominated space.
Definitely. That's awesome. What would you say when you started your business? What would you say was one resource that you can share that was extremely beneficial to you?
Yeah, I think definitely, FWE was great. So I did their E-Series program, which is like a 3-day kind of entrepreneurship intensive sort of conference. And they covered everything from like social media to finances to how to like read a balance sheet to legal stuff. So that was a really good overview.
Yeah.
And I think beyond that, for me, like the biggest thing has really been building the brand and building the community.
Yes.
So just a lot is
awesome.
Yeah,
any that you would recommend?
Yeah, some of my favorite ones. Amy Porterfield's is a good one. The Gold Digger.
Yep.
What else? I really like How I Built This, even just for like just to sort of learn more about people's stories. And
yes.
I think it's so helpful to hear how hard it is.
Yes, absolutely.
That's like one thing I did not anticipate is because not to say people glorify starting a business, but it feels so good to pursue something you're passionate about that's so impactful. And then you see the other side of it and you're like, was this like really worth it to do?
Yeah. No, I think sharing real and raw stories makes it so much easier when you're going through it as well.
Totally.
Because you're like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one who is having this struggle. Like this company, this entrepreneur who's extremely successful has dealt with hardships as well. And it makes you feel normal and like it's still something that you can accomplish, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. What would one quote be that you live by, whether it's personal or it's something that's you've borrowed?
I wrote a couple down.
I love it.
So one of my favorites is, I can't remember who said this, but if not you, then who? If not now, then when?
Oh, yeah.
I really like that one, especially because, I mean, for me, like, it's not like I owned a travel company before or, like, had a tour company or a guiding company or I never worked for one. So I think I struggled a lot with that. Like, who am I to lead a hike or start this? So that's been a good one. And one my mom always said from Maya Angelou, people will never forget what you said. Or sorry, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too.
Awesome. Love it so much. How would you say you keep motivated in your company?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think I've always been a pretty motivated person. And it's really funny. So before I launched this business, I had mentioned before, I had like a kind of like a consulting business with a friend of mine actually. And looking back, like I definitely lacked motivation. And I think it's just because it wasn't something I was passionate about and didn't really want to do. And now, like, finding something I'm just so like believe in, I just would do anything for my business, which is, it's really interesting now to see that contrast.
Yes.
But beyond that, of course, there's days where I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore.
Of course.
So I think for sure having events, like once you put it out there and tell people about it and people are showing up, like you have to show up for them.
Of course.
And having mentors, like having a monthly phone call with my mentor and having like set tasks I need to do, even if it's just like this false sense of accountability, is really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you bring other people into that, like you said, you're saying it out loud, it's real, you're held accountable, you're showing up for other people. Those are the things that are keeping you motivated, right?
Totally.
What would you say is one accomplishment you're extremely proud of?
Well, definitely launching the business.
It's a huge one.
Yeah, I would say that's probably been the biggest one. It's funny, like I feel like you sort of go through like high school, university, and you sort of follow this path that you're supposed to do. And then you kind of get out of that and you're like, what do I accomplish now? Like, what am I supposed to do? So for sure, another one was really moving to Vancouver, not knowing anyone, doing a master's in a field I had like no experience in. Yeah, so I think the master's and then launching the business are the two ones.
Amazing, amazing. What would you say is something that you will regret in the future not starting now, and what is something that you already regret not starting sooner?
Oh man, I think probably every time is just, it's crazy. I feel like what we're capable of is so much bigger than what we think.
Yep.
And even now, like, yeah, just looking back on all the stuff I've done over the past 5 months, I'm really proud, but I think there's just so much possibility. So for me, I think I just constantly have to remind myself of what is possible and not to, it's so easy for like the self-doubt and like the limiting beliefs to like creep in.
Yes, absolutely.
That's definitely something I deal with like every day.
Oh yeah.
So I think just kind of keeping that in check, but I'm trying to think of things I really regret. Probably not meditating enough.
Yeah. Do you meditate? Is that something that
I
is
do.
Incorporated in your day?
Yeah, like I think I've always been really good at like spending time outside and eating well and exercising. But for me, my biggest challenge is really to like slow down and relax and do nothing. And I really burnt myself out like 3 months into my business and was like, if this is like 3 months in, like I can't do this to myself again. So for me, yeah, definitely 2020, trying to be a lot more intentional about just building in those periods of rest and actually meditating every day instead of like so sporadic.
Yes, absolutely. No, it is really hard, especially when you're starting a business. You feel like you have to do everything at all times. And you're a one-woman show?
Yeah.
Okay, so being a one-woman show, again, you feel like you have to do everything. And it's hard to turn off. I mean, in the evenings, weekends, whenever, it's hard to keep to the schedule. So it is good that, unfortunately, you've gone through that and known, okay, what random stranger has had the biggest impact on your life?
Oh, that's such a good question. I didn't see this in the other blog post. I'm going to have to think about this. Random stranger. I guess maybe not so much. I mean, they were random to begin with, but not in the end.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, so when I went to the Alps, it was with another tour group. And they were all strangers. Like, I knew no one. And I think the coolest thing about that is you really can just show up as whoever you want. Because, like, no one's ever met you before. No one has any idea what you're like. And I think just to meet people who so fully accepted you for who you were and to tell them about my ideas for a business, they were just so encouraging. Actually, the really cool thing is, so there was two women, Sue and Liz, who were on the trip. And they were, like, the first people I met. And I still remember. So I flew into France and arrived at this like tiny hotel in Chamonix, this like mountain town, and I was so overpacked. Like as much as I like give people advice on what to bring, I had like 3 pounds of like Lara bars. Like I was like over prepared. And it was like, at the airport I had run into this other woman who was also on the trip, and she had like a tiny little backpack. I was like, how is this possible? So anyway, so I arrived at this hotel and showed up in the lobby, and there's Sue and Liz sitting there with like massive backpacks, and I was like, okay, like I feel better about this. Yeah. And I told them sort of on the trip about what I was thinking about doing for my business. And so when I finally launched it, even though they live in Ontario, they were like the first ones to reach out and to say like,
wonderful.
How can we support this? And we're coming to Vancouver in April. Could you give us like a private tour? Even though you're not really business yet, we'll pay you. We don't care.
Oh, that's so nice.
So that was really cool. Yeah, just these two women that I kind of spent like a week with and gotten to know really well. But so I feel like that's a good example of
That's really cool. I love that so much. It's honestly so important to surround yourself with people who are going to support you and be excited and share what you're doing and support what you're doing. So that's so cool that you found it in strangers who
totally
became, I assume, good friends,
which
is really nice. What would you say is the best thing about being a female?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Oh, what did I write down? Because I feel like I had better ideas what I'm going to think about now. Actually, I think for me, one of the coolest things about launching the business, especially as like a solopreneur, is being able to partner with other businesses.
Yeah.
And just so many of the amazing women that I partner with. And as much as I've partnered with men too, and they've been awesome, I feel like just the connection and the understanding and like the camaraderie and just the desire to support each other has been really, really cool. And people just being so honest about the struggles.
Oh, yeah.
I really love that. Yeah, like the friendship. So I think for sure that, and I feel like for better or for worse, also being underestimated and then showing people sort of what you're capable of. It's funny, even when I've like gone on dates before and told people I hike, people are shocked that I like actually mean like I've gone on like a hike. Like they think I'm talking about Quarry Rock.
Full on hike, camping, sleeping, eating, etc.
Yeah, they're always like, oh, like you actually do hike. I'm like, I wasn't lying about this. So
I love it. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you've learned starting a business?
Oh man, I feel like it's definitely been a rough go at times. I think, probably a couple of things. Like for sure, I think when it comes down to it, you can know so much. Like I think finding the knowledge is not that hard, but the amount of personal development and how much that will impact your business for better or worse is not something I really anticipated. Like I feel like you can know how to do social media strategy, but if you don't believe in your business or don't believe you can do it, then it's not really going to matter. So for sure, definitely 2019 was like a huge year of like personal growth and confronting a lot of those like self-limiting beliefs. So both that, and I think also just realizing you can't do it all.
Yeah.
Whether that be prioritizing things I'm actually going to do for my business or getting extra help and accepting help has been a tough lesson.
Yeah, it is really hard sometimes to step back and say, oh my gosh, I'm not an expert at everything. Yeah. And that's okay. And it's fine to hire or outsource or get help.
Totally.
Because that's the best way that you can grow and continue to be better. And also focus on the things that you're actually good at and what you care about, right?
And I'm sure, you probably experienced, I feel like I'm like such a like control freak and perfectionist when it comes to stuff.
Definitely.
And to have the trust that someone else is going to do a good job. They're going to do it.
What would you say is maybe one of the most embarrassing things that you've done in your business or in your career this far?
Oh man, well I like, for people who know me, I'm so disaster prone and definitely have a tendency to like break things or like set things on fire and fall. I try like not to tell people that before they come on a hike because they'll probably like, oh my god,
right? Yeah.
Oh my god, like there's a very long list, but some things that definitely are up there. Once I ran into a bus stop.
Oh my goodness. And were you looking at your phone?
No, so I was literally out for a run. So it was just by English Bay and like, it was at night. And I think I was, if you've ever been by English Bay around Christmas time, they decorate that tree with like so many lights.
Right.
And I was just like totally distracted, running along, legit ran into the bus stop. But I feel like it's just so funny. Like I can laugh that type of stuff off.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh man, I'm trying to think, other things, I still remember when I first, so in between, when I was at university during the summer, my dad works in property management, so I would work for his company as like a summer student, and I still remember I was like in charge of ordering office supplies, and I ended up ordering 40 cases of paper instead of like 40 like packages of like printer paper.
Oh my goodness.
And I still remember the delivery guy like bringing in box after box that was like so embarrassing.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so funny. But lessons that you've learned.
Totally, yeah. I've had lots of embarrassing moments.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So you came super prepared today. Is there anything that you want to touch on that we haven't talked about yet? Anything that you feel really called to talk about or answer?
I think for me, I guess, like really just things I've already talked about, like both learning how to manage just dealing with the self-doubt and like the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And then also balancing the self-care.
Yes.
And like the aspect of burnout. It's funny, before I really got into the business, I didn't understand how people couldn't allot time for self-care, couldn't get out for a workout.
Yeah.
So for sure, launching the business has given me a whole new appreciation for that.
Oh yeah.
And for people who have kids or families, like I don't even know how people do it. So
yeah. So just being more hyper aware of all of the things that you have to like schedule in and make time for and everything like that.
And I think really just accepting how much rest is needed. I have such a bad tendency of like pushing myself to like where I'm just forced to stop. Like even I just did it over the holidays where I think I had sort of done like 5 months of all these events, constantly pushing and sort of getting the business out there. And then I think once you slow down, you kind of crash.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to work on just being a bit more proactive about that. And relishing when I actually do have like an hour, or whether it be like half an hour or a full day to sit and do nothing, to actually do that.
Oh yeah, doing nothing sometimes is the best thing ever. So what is one thing that you're going to make happen this year with your business? Anything new and exciting that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so many things, but I think definitely for me the big goals are to, for sure, move beyond the one-day retreats.
Yeah.
So that was never my vision to do one-day stuff. It was really just to kind of get it out there, test things. So offering overnight and multi-day things.
Very cool.
I really want to do international trips, but we'll see how that fits into 2020.
Where do you think you would start?
I would love to go back to the Alps, just because it's such like a soft spot for me.
Yeah.
And two, like, I mean, a big thing with Renew Retreats is I've never really liked camping that much. Like, I love being outside, but to come like home or come back to like a warm place to sleep and a real bed and a real meal, that's what I really want to create.
Yeah.
So with the Alps, that's like super easy with their kind of whole hut lodge system.
Right. I think it's really funny that you've made a career and a whole thing surrounded by things that you were kind of uncomfortable with. And it's really cool that you just dove into that and you're super passionate about it now, and you're just looking to create different ways to bring people who aren't traditionally excited or passionate.
Totally. I think that's a big part of it, is that, for me, like I always want people to know that I did not grow up a runner. It's really funny.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate learning more about yourself and your business. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so Renew Retreats is welcometorenew.com.
Okay.
That's our website, and that has our blog, different hiking resources. We have a free hiking 101 guide.
Okay.
That has basically lists of stuff you need to bring, what to do if you see an animal, snacks to eat. And then on Instagram is just Renew Retreats.
Awesome.
And same with Facebook.
Very cool. So we'll also add all of those to the notes. We'll add the hiking essentials as well. And we'll add some links so everyone can get those. So thank you so much. Been so fun getting to know you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. It was lots of fun to tell you more about the business.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I greatly appreciate the time that you took to listen and learn a bit more about another woman in business who is truly moving and shaking the world. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please subscribe, rate, review, and share it with a friend who you think might enjoy it too. These small actions truly mean the world to a small business owner like myself. If you're a business owner looking for inspiration and guidance in growing your business, I would love to help you. I also will be giving my listeners $25 off my Creativity Strategy Hour. By using promo code CreativityAndLove, you can use it at checkout and get it on my website, which is available on the show notes, or at www.pinkcrowncreative.com. You can also stay up to date with the latest podcast releases, behind the scenes, and insider info about each guest by following us on Instagram at Have You Met Her Yet series, or by signing up for our weekly newsletter, which will bring each episode right to your inbox. Thank you so much for listening. It truly means the world. We wish you a wonderful week and hope that it is filled with creativity and love.